Hello, welcome to jQuery tutorial, chapter 14, jQuery method chaining, brought to you by Ankpro Technologies. My name is Harish. In this session, we are going to learn about what is method chaining, and also we are going to understand how the method chaining works. So here comes the slide. Chaining, it's one of the most powerful feature of jQuery. So what do you mean by chaining? Chaining means to connect multiple functions or events to the selectors. So here below you can observe we have two code snippets. First let me go with this one. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to identify an element with this ID and I'm trying to attach a method to it. Similarly in this next line also I'm trying to identify an element with the same ID previously what we identified it, okay, and we are trying to attach a CSS method, and at the last also we are going to identify the element with this ID, okay, which we identified earlier, and we are going to attach a method called fade in. So first let me show you the output of this, and after that let me go to the next snippet. So let me jump into Visual Studio, and here first let me create a div, okay, and let me add a ID to it, and let me take the ID as div content, okay, and let me add a sample text. Let me add a break line. So let me copy and paste this. So here comes, so right now I'm having a div with the ID, a div content. So my objective is with the help of jQuery I need to identify this div element with the help of this ID. Then I need to call these methods on it: add class, CSS, and fade in. So how do I do that? It's very simple. First I need to verify whether my document is completely DOM is completely loaded or not with the help of this document dot ready method function. Okay, once it is loaded, what I need to do is I need to identify an element with this ID. So to the selector I'm passing the ID. The ID is div content dot, okay, let me go back to presentation. What is the first method I'm attaching to that div content to the element with this ID? That is add class. So add class is a method which take a string of CSS class name. So first what I need to do is I need to define, okay, I need to define a CSS class by name dummy. Here I'm going to write the styles. So let me set the background color to be of orange, okay, and let me apply a border of 1 pixel solid black, background color border, then height of 150 pixel, and width of the same, that is 150 pixel. Sorry for that. Yes, width of 150 pixel. So now my objective is I need to apply this CSS class to the element with this ID. In the sense I'm going to apply the CSS class dummy to this div element with the help of add class method. So add class method, to this add class method I need to pass a class name, okay, of CSS class name, which I'm going to apply to this element of ID div content. So the class name is dummy. So now let me do Ctrl S and let me push this page to the browser. Let me see the output, how it renders. Okay, now it's very simple. Now you can observe we'll be getting the output like this. Okay, this is the div, and we have a content in it, and the border is 1 pixel solid black, background is orange color, okay, and we have some other styles written like height is 150 pixel, width is 150 pixel. So what we have done now jQuery code is we are telling the selector to identify an element with this ID, so it will identify this. That's fine. And after that we are calling a method called add class. This add class method take the CSS class name as input, and it will apply to the element with this ID. So we are getting the output as background color orange, border 1 pixel solid black, height and width of 150 pixel. Apply to the div. So now let me go back to presentation and let me come to the seventh line. In the seventh line, we are identifying an element with the same ID, and but here we are calling a different method, that is CSS method. Okay, now let me go and do it. It's very simple. Now here the content sample text is of color black. Now I need to change the color to white. How do I do that? I need to take help of the CSS method. So I'm removing this as of now. I'm calling CSS. Okay, the color to be of white. Control S. Let me go back and let me refresh. Here you can observe the color of the sample text turned to be white. Why? Because I'm telling again in my jQuery, with the help of jQuery, I'm telling identifying element with this ID and apply the CSS what I have specified. So let me go back to presentation. And again in the ninth line, what we are doing, we are identifying the element with the same ID and we are calling the fade in. Okay, and to that fade in we are passing the value as slow. Okay, so as of now, let me click. Okay, let me. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to copy this, Control V. Now I need to call a fade in method. So this will take the duration. Okay, 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so as of, let me do like what I've specified in my example. It's of slow. It should happen, the fade in should happen in a slow manner. Okay, let me remove this. Yeah, now let me go back and let me refresh. Okay, you can observe the fade in is happening slow. Okay, and all the methods what I've attached here are applying to this div element, because I'm telling every time like identifying element with this div content, with this div content. But what's the problem here? Okay, keep in mind here the problem with this code, what I've jQuery code I've written here is that for every statement, okay, jQuery has to search the entire DOM, okay, and find the element with this ID, okay, and it has to execute the method specified on it. So the problem here is every time the jQuery has to identify an element with this ID and it has to execute the method. So again, once it executes this line, it has to come to the second line. Again, it has to find the element with this ID. Again, it has to apply this method. So every time what we are doing is we are killing our jQuery efficiency by making it to identify an element with this ID every time. So instead of doing like this, we can go with the method chaining, and that's the place where method chaining come into existence. So here in this code snippet you can observe very clearly. So what we are doing is we are identifying an element only once, okay, and after that we are attaching the methods, okay, to that element there itself. Okay, instead of coming to the next line and identifying elements separately, what we are doing is the jQuery, it will identify an element with this ID only once and it will execute all the attached functions, okay, one by one. And this is the advantage of using chaining. So let me show you. We can do, let me remove these things present here, this part and this part and this comma, and now so let me push to the single line all the things. Now this we will be getting the same output like what we got for the last time. Let me refresh, and again we are getting the same output. But what we solved here is we improved our jQuery efficiency. Okay, that is the advantage of using it. Okay, and now let me go back to presentation. Okay, chaining means to connect multiple functions, events on selectors, and we saw like how to chain multiple methods as of now, and we are left, and let me show you how we can chain the events also on the selector. Okay, I hope you understood with this, and hope you understood what is jQuery method chaining. And in the next slide I'm going to explain you like what are the important points about chaining. Okay, when we use chaining, what happens is it makes your code short and easy to manage, and you can observe here earlier we identified this element thrice and the code was very bulky, and now you can observe we are doing the same work in a single line by identifying an element once and attaching all the methods to it in a single line. And this makes the method chaining special. Again, it makes your code short and easy to manage, and it gives you better performance, obviously. And keep in mind the change how it work, the chaining method what we attach here. You can observe early. First we have attached the add class, then CSS, then fade in. So how it works is the chain starts from left to right. So left most will be called first, and the so on. So here we have attached the first method as add class, so the chaining starts from left side. So first this add class method will be called, then second CSS, and the third is fade in. This is how the method chaining works. Okay, and in the last example, like in this example we saw like how to chain the methods. See, keep in mind not only the methods of functions, chaining also works with events in jQuery. For example, the below piece of code have mouse over and mouse out events for a button. So in this piece of code I'm having two events, one is mouse over and mouse out. Okay, now how can I show you this events like mouse over and mouse events for a button with the help of method chaining? Let me show you. It's very simple. So as of now, let me remove this, it's not important, and let me remove the style also. We are not going to add any CSS class as of now to that. And let me remove this, Control S. Okay, now what I'll do is let me create a button first. So let me take a button and let me add ID to the button. Button is okay, what is the ID I've taken here? It's button dummy. Okay, let me go with that itself. Okay, let me go with that itself. And as of so now I'm creating a button with the ID button dummy as of now. So now what I need to do is I need to identify this button with the help of my jQuery code. So let me add a script tag. So first let me verify whether my DOM is completely loaded or not with the help of ready document.ready method. Okay, so here I'm going to write a function, anonymous function. So now what I need to do is I need to identify this button. So how do I identify? With the help of that ID. Okay, that is button dummy, and to this now I'm going to attach an event, that is mouse over. On mouse over, okay, what I'll do is okay, on mouse over, what it has to do is it has to just push me an alert telling like mouse over. Okay, to Control S. Now let me push this page to the browser, or it's already there. Let me go back and let me refresh here. Okay, the thing is I have not assigned a value to this button, so let me give it a submit. Go back and let me refresh. Okay, let me refresh. Here you can observe we are having the submit button. Now when I mouse over on this, okay, mouse over is an event, I'll get a message telling like mouse over. Okay, now I need to write another event, that is mouse out. So what I'll do is I'll copy this again and I'll paste it here, and the method what I'm going to use now is out. Okay, and here I'm going to tell it as out. Control S. Let me go back, let me refresh. Now when I mouse over on that, I'm getting alert telling like mouse over. Now as soon as I click, I'll get a message like mouse out, because I left the mouse from here. I removed the mouse from that submit button, so I'm getting this mouse out. Okay, so what we understood from here is we can okay, we can do method chaining not only for the methods but also for the events in jQuery. So now what we are doing here is we are explicitly identifying this button every time, But instead of that, let me show you how to do the same, how to achieve the same functionality with the help of event chaining. Okay, so what I'll do is first, it's very simple. Let me remove this. Okay, and after this, okay, mouse out to this. What I'll do is I'll just copy and paste this method. Control S. Let me go back and let me refresh. Let me refresh the page. Now when I over on the mouse, I'm getting mouse over and mouse over. Oh, it's sorry. It has to bring a message like mouse out, right? Yes, I want to change here. Control S. This is called method chaining. Let me refresh. Click on this mouse over, and now I left the mouse, so I'm getting mouse out. Okay. So what we learned in this session is like what is method chaining and how method chaining works, and we can attach the chaining not only to the methods to also the jQuery events, and also we learned the importance of method chaining. And thank you for listening. Have a great day. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Ankpro Training. You can also like our Facebook page visiting this URL. You can also follow us on Twitter. For further reference, refer websites. We are on LinkedIn too. Last but not the least, please don't forget to give the feedback. Thank you. Have a great day.